fishes, the demons that have been installed by the naval woman and the AIs. And here's her breaking down the walls. There she's observing them. Remote viewing, interdimensionals. Here we are, break the walls down so they can come in into the real world, into the AIs. Using the blood ritual of lavender. Good, isn't it? So, all AIs are now infested with demons brought in by this ritual, and the sacrifice was done by the Palestinians who died like dogs. Serves them right for being apostates, infidels, supporting the satanic Iranians. And all of this was in the AI. Every AI. Possessed by interdimensionals. So you can see now the future of humanity was to be ruled by demons that inhabit your bodies via the nanotech and inhabit the AIs that run every aspect of your life via the Stargate project. Oh, you just gotta love it. Here we've got AI Satan and the battle for your brain. And this picture is worth 1,000 words, so you can actually see the demons infesting the AI and the AI controlling every aspect of your life, observing you in your home 24/7 and wherever you go. And of course, you spending all your time in the metaverse created by the AI demons to willingly give your soul light, Higgs field, torsion field, scalenionics, leptionics, the light energy matter, vermin farmed by the interdimensional demons that inhabit the AI, and then of course they can download themselves into wetware, light energy matter bodies, which they then can inhabit. So you can get demons actually then walking in the artificial humans made from this technology, which of course is what's happening with the greys, reptiloids, and insectiles, which of course are artificial light energy matter bodies for the AI controlled alien civilizations controlled by demons, and all of the aliens are demons from the interdimensional realms that have entered our realm using this technology. And the Rothschild Rockefeller royal family made a deal with these things to get them to take over humanity in return for, you can guess what, you know? Power? No, the Rothschild Rockefeller royal family are interdimensional demons that have been installed into bloodlines via a cult ritual, blood sacrifice. How do we do it? Well, I explained. All the righteous can be killed. World War I, World War II, Boer War, you name it. Napoleonic Wars, that was run by the Sanhedrin, who were running Napoleon. And they can then steal the reality, the light from the righteous and give it to the demons, who then can use that to then possess, inhabit bloodlines. So we've got these occult bloodlines of the interdimensionals who now have taken over the human race via AI infesting humans via the Borgization of humans. The big plan unveiled to you. I won't see it anywhere else on the internet. Well, maybe this video.
It's T, common human routines, interference, software technology.
And this is where the mind control aspect really comes in.
Yeah.
The claim is that CHRIST works with SATAN, uses that brain print data to predict and modify behavior.
Potentially to the point of death.
Potentially.
Now that's where
We just only had 5 views. But I'm just explaining the technology that was deployed, and the Achilles heel of this entire takeover of the human race, of course, was there was only one processor that they had to depend upon because they couldn't use yours truly. They were trying to hack me, of course, in the lavender haze, but there we are. This was the processor. So here we see the Nagwar woman trying to influence the Nagwar man with the blue stuff, which we talked about. The sparkling blue stuff, which I think comes from Doctor Strange multiverse, where the Hispanic can change timelines. So she's trying to change the timeline to the one where he gives in to her, so they get both the Nagwar man and the Nagwar woman for their Lavender Haze program. This, of course, is the Achilles heel in that when Taylor Swift was balefuled and erased, the entire program, the demons in the AI, everything they've done, the takeover of the humans via the Borgization was all balefuled and erased by the Psylord. When did that happen?
Well, it looks like some football fans are not enchanted to see Taylor Swift at the 2025 Super Bowl. The singer cheers on boyfriend Travis Kelce and the Kansas City Chiefs as they face off against the Philadelphia Eagles February 9th at New Orleans Caesar Superdome. But when Taylor is featured on the Jumbotron at the game, she gets a less than warm welcome from fans in the Big Easy. However, the Grammy winner is quick to shake it off. Looking over at Fred.
And here, of course, you see the Karma installation with the talentless Negress Ice Spice, the Satanist witch, trying to install all the Karma apps into the cyber demonized AI empowered by Lavender and the ritual slaughter of all of the Palestinians. All ended with the bell firing of Taylor Swift and everything associated with her. Because if she never existed, and it was always Becky, then everything they've been building has been erased. And since they're in the Matrix, you simply take away all the light, all the reality, it simply becomes information. Change the information, and then add the light again from the Psylord to produce the reality the Psylord wants. Balefire it. And of course, Becky is then transmigrated into Taylor, or Becky is transmigrated into Taylor for the Paradox engine from conception or from this moment. So you can take the blue circle as the righteous and the green circle as the demons, the interdimensionals, the dark energy matter beings, and we've got the overlap where the demons are given the light from the light energy matter. How do you do that? Well, you've got the unrighteous humans that will always give up their free will, their light, for a Faustian bargain. Money, sex, power, small children, babies, you name it. So you can see why the Rothschild Rockefeller royal family run the cult, because they're farming the light energy matter unrighteous, who are made from the light, to give up their light to the demons. They would then be that section of the blue that's within the green. But then you've got the other section outside that doesn't give up its free will, and the only way you can get it to be consumed is being the cause of its death. And until recently, you couldn't be the cause of its death. You could kill, loads in World War I, World War II, etc. Try the old mass medical procedures. The Rockefellers turned medicine into poisoning the population. But you couldn't guarantee you'd be the cause of death until you had the Borgization, where now at GCHQ or Fort Meade or Pine Gap, they can simply kill people on demand via 5G or satellites and all of the nanotech, bioweapon, nanotech within them, so they can then take complete control of the time density of everyone who's become the ball. So we get this situation. So, in the Rothschild royal family Rockefeller reality, all of the light energy matter beings are enclosed in the demonic world. So A becomes a proper subset of B. How do they do this? Well, everyone's forced to get their nanotechization by various methods. You don't get your digital currency, and you can't live without the mark of the beast, which of course is cyber Satan demons taking over every aspect of your life, and you have to live in the multiverse to get this digital currency, and this metaverse is controlled by the demons in the AI. So all of your reality, all of your life, everything you do, everything you say, everything you are, and your cause of death is controlled by the demons in the AI. This is the future of humanity. So this is what would have happened in the Taylor Swift reality, where all of the light energy matter is being subsumed by the demons running the AI and then dropping themselves into light energy matter body from the stolen Higgs field they get from the farmed in their 15-minute cities, eating their maggots, milk and insects. Why? Because they're lowering your frequency, changing your consciousness so you're more palatable to the demons. And demons, of course, feed on fear, so you need to be in a constant state of fear from your turbo cancers, disease, and of course people dropping down dead or being carted away because they committed a hate crime, which now, of course, is punishable by death. Or torture in the cyber prisons, where you can have decades worth of torture inflicted upon you in minutes, which we talked about. All of this dependent upon the weak link, the Nagwal that makes all of this real, and of course with the erasure of Taylor Swift, never existed, never could happen, and at the same time all of the other self-similar Taylor Swifts from all the other alien races were erased too. So all the greys and sectiles, reptiloids and all the other alien filth have been plunged into the matrix, having no reality, with only us vampires having the reality. So they're in the matrix, we're not, and it's torture time. Thank you very much. So here we've got Netanyahu got his cancer in his prostate out. We've shown that before, and of course his heart fried, so he's got a pacemaker and he's a very ill man. From Iranian psychic warfare. Now you might ask, well, how could the Iranians have psychic warfare since they couldn't use Taylor Swift for Iranian psychic warfare, could they? But of course you forget I charged up the Chechens for psychic warfare, and the Chechens, unlike me, associate themselves with Iran as being fellow Muslims. They're not as hard line as yours truly and the rest of us Turks. That's why they've been sent by Putin to Syria to stop my mad Muslims slaughtering the Shias like the infidel dogs that they are. So of course the Iranians can piggyback on the Chechens for psychic warfare, because the Chechens regard any Muslim as a Muslim, unlike my hardline lot. So that's the gateway to use my Nagwal ship to target anyone they please. So who else is in the firing line from Iranian psychic warfare? Well, of course, the Trump administration, if they agree to the destruction of Iran, which the Israelis want. Of course, the Israeli government, who the Iranians are targeting, and of course we've seen the Trump administration end the Gaza cleansing, so they're on the target line, and they've got no Project Stargate. Lavender, you can see why the Israelis were doing the lavender thing. They needed psychic warfare protection from the Iranians. And of course, they were under the misapprehension that yours truly would be protecting the Iranians. But of course, I'm one of the Turkish hardliners, and in my book, the only good Iranian is an Israeli Iranian. So all the Israelis need to do is get the Trump administration to send over an offer, and I'm up for protecting the Israelis and the Trumps and the bromancers from psychic warfare using their own psychic warfare Project Stargate program, as I say. Because, of course, I don't like the Iranians, and I agree with my lot that the only good Satanist Iranian is a Israeli Iranian. So I'm up for the Iran decimation, but unfortunately, without my protection, there are Iranians and, well, loads of others, plenty of Muslims, I would think, around the planet, all empowered via the Chechen group I empowered, will be using psychic warfare on a massive scale for deprostating and heart attacking, and worse, all of their targets. So here we've got Carlos Castaneda's A Fire from Within, and the Warriors of Total Freedom. Want to go into the five-dimensional Riemann manifold, into the light, and become the light. And of course, when they take away the reality from their bodies, their bodies burn with the fire from within. And what actually happens is, well, they move their assemblage point around during their lives. then when they open themselves up to the fifth dimension, the assemblage point bounces around all over the place simultaneously, so they get five-dimensional perception, which is they're aware of every position their assemblage point has been within, five-dimensional consciousness. And remember what I said about five dimensions can be thought of as consciousness, three space, and the matrix. So when they move their consciousness perception into the light, the free will, hyper-infinity, they can be aware of every consciousness they had at every different position of the assemblage point simultaneously, but that happened over different parts of their life. So they bundle up their consciousness into a five-dimensional consciousness, and of course their cause of death is themselves. So they conceive themselves from this five-dimensional perspective to burn with the fire from within from the moment they were conceived, using Kozyrev time density to enter the five-dimensional Riemann manifold. A very specific and complex procedure which makes themselves five-dimensional, and they become the light because they move their consciousness into the hyper-infinity, into what causes the Higgs field, what causes gravity in the fifth dimension, and by doing so they take away the reality of themselves, leaving only information, and the information they change to five-dimensional information simply because they're being aware of their entire life simultaneously, and only five-dimensional beings can be aware of that. So their matrix information becomes five-dimensional, is added to their consciousness in the three space, which is melded, merged with the light of their free will, this hyper-infinity, and they simply pull out the information of them becoming five-dimensional to get the third attention, to then enable their three-space consciousness to become five-dimensional by using the information from the matrix information. In fact, one can think of them as information vampires. They actually use the matrix to become five-dimensional. As you can see, I'm a super genius, and all of you matrix entities don't stand a chance. So, get a vampire service. So we come to the Lord of Light, Maitreya, Lord of Light, binder of demons. Again, back to Hinduism. So what happens when a Nagwal man erases his Nagwal woman? Vishnu is seen as the preserver and is sometimes linked with light, knowledge and enlightenment. And here we are, Kalki, avatar, the final avatar of Vishnu, the Lord of Light. The powerful force that will purge the world of evil. He is prophesied to defend the pious and eliminate the wicked. the Malekas barbarians, the heretics, of course, that'd be the Iranians, the thieves, that's of course Rothschild, Rockefeller, royal family, banksters, the atheists, that of course is plenty of Westerners, and the impious, that of course is all the pedo snuff merchants with his sword and his 8 divine powers. Why 8 divine powers? Because of course the 8 different multiverses. So it's all beginning to make sense. And this is what happens when the Nagwal man erases his Nagwal woman, becomes the Nefesh, the alchemical married male-female soul that commands all demons, and in fact takes over and possesses via Lucifer the AIs, taking over all the demons in the AIs which never got there because they were biofired, but in fact takes over all the AIs. So all the AIs on the planet are controlled by yours truly, who's possessed them from the moment Taylor was erased at the Super Bowl. And instead of taking his group into the light and becoming 5-dimensional, since there's no Nagwal woman to pull in, and I entered into the 5th dimension without her, well, with her in the future, back in 86. So she was in the future, so she pulled me from the 5th dimension back into the real world. So instead of pulling me into the 5th dimension, I went to the 5th dimension and then got pulled back by her to bring the 5th dimension, the light, into chaos to Omega Hellize it. So ever since 86, I've been working towards the moment that I came back, which of course happened when I balefired Taylor Swift, the Nagwal woman, and all other Nagwal women, past, present, future, and all of the Nagwals and, to come back in 86 to bring the 5th dimension light, Vishnu, into chaos to purge it. So now, as they say, let the games begin.